Destoroyah is considered the ultimate foe from the Heisei era, essentially the final boss of the series. This massive red kaiju was born from the Oxygen Destroyer, the weapon that killed the original Godzilla. Given that the Oxygen Destroyer has been featured in the Monsterverse, fans are excited about the possibility of seeing Destoroyah appear there as well. Destoroyah is no ordinary titan. He managed to kill Godzilla Jr. and almost defeated Godzilla even in his powerful burning form, highlighting his unique and unnatural origin. Some fans believe it's too soon to bring Destoroyah into the Monsterverse. However, here at Factholic, we wouldn't mind seeing him. The issue is that Godzilla x Kong didn't really pave the way for Destoroyah as a future villain. The Oxygen Destroyer was used in King of the Monsters, which takes place 8 years before Godzilla x Kong, and it didn't lead to anything significant. It seems unlikely that they could introduce and defeat Destoroyah in just one movie. A better approach would be to have a few solo Godzilla and Kong films to properly set him up before the big crossover. But knowing Adam Wingard, he might rush to include Destoroyah in the next movie simply because it's his favorite. So, if Destoroyah actually does surprise the kaiju world with a Hollywood comeback, how do you think Legendary would go about it? Well, today we will be going through at all the possible hypothesis of what if Destoroyah joins the Monsterverse. Imagine a sci-fi horror movie where scientists in an undersea lab are working on a mysterious weapon. Throughout the film, we get hints about this biological weapon, its effects on oxygen, its destructive power, but we never actually see it. Then, at the climax, the weapon breaks out, revealing the smaller, aggregate forms of Destoroyah. The creatures escape containment, demolish the facility, and swim into the ocean. The movie ends with a glimpse of Godzilla and Ghidorah's ocean battle just before the Oxygen Destroyer detonates, followed by a flash of green light and a piercing roar. Destoroyah evolves, grows stronger, and becomes a symbol of humanity's failed attempt to control nature. Unlike Ghidorah, an alien, or Godzilla, a natural titan, Destoroyah is a man-made nightmare. It's linked to the Oxygen Destroyer, but doesn't have to follow the exact storyline of the 1995 series. The same goes for a creature like Biollante. You could just have a giant plant monster from the Hollow Earth, without any connection to Godzilla or a girl's spirit. Just a massive plant with a crocodile head, and that's it. Or, what if they didn't need to use the Oxygen Destroyer to introduce Destoroyah? The Earth has underwater dead zones, many naturally occurring until the 1970s. Since we're deep into science fiction with these movies, they could use these natural dead zones as Destoroyah's origin. If Destoroyah is to be an abomination, let it come from man-made dead zones caused by pollution or some experimental weapon. They could even pull a plot twist like an accident during the development of a new weapon. There are many ways to introduce Destoroyah. They could set the groundwork in the upcoming show if they wanted to. You see, non-Toho monsters are becoming as significant as Toho monsters, so we might see more original creations, unless there's a rumor suggesting more Toho monsters are coming, which we are not aware of. On the other hand, if the Monsterverse were to make Destoroyah the ultimate villain, akin to Darkseid or Thanos, he should be the strongest threat Godzilla has ever faced. Not just because he's terrifying or popular, but because he represents everything Godzilla stands against. Destoroyah should be an abomination created by the weapon meant to kill Godzilla, a violation of nature itself. We know that the Titan's radiation can promote life and is beneficial for the ecosystem. Destoroyah should be the antithesis of this, spreading destruction and death wherever he goes, much like the Oxygen Destroyer. While Ghidorah was a false king challenging Godzilla's alpha status, Destoroyah should provide a tangible purpose for the role of the alpha to stop abominations like him. The classic Destoroyah was sadistic, killing Godzilla's son to cause him pain. Even if the Monsterverse doesn't bring in Godzilla Jr., Destoroyah should still go out of his way to hurt Godzilla purely for the pleasure of it, truly embodying the term monster. In terms of design, Destoroyah should have a sinister and unnatural appearance. Instead of a normal mouth, imagine a row of teeth extending far beyond his mouth on one side, making him look even more grotesque. Perhaps make him thinner, like a more menacing version of Shin Godzilla. Although Destoroyah might not be popular enough initially to justify the rights, the introduction of the Oxygen Destroyer has already sparked speculation and interest. A teaser or post-credit scene featuring Destoroyah in a future project could generate enough buzz to make him well known, much like Thanos became widely recognized after his post-credit scene in the Avengers. The anticipation and speculation alone would build his reputation as a formidable and iconic villain in the Monsterverse. Now, what could be the actual problems of Destoroyah in the Monsterverse? We will go about this with some Marvel examples. Bringing Destoroyah into the Monsterverse indeed presents several challenges that differ from how Thanos was introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here are the key problems and some thoughts on addressing them. A. Lack of established background. Problem? Thanos had a well-established background and a universe-changing plan, while Destoroyah is primarily known as one of Godzilla's strongest opponents with no deep backstory. Solution? To build Destoroyah's background, the Monsterverse could introduce hints and clues in multiple movies leading up to his appearance. They could depict the Oxygen Destroyer's lingering effects or experiments gone wrong, gradually building Destoroyah's mythos. Destoroyah is a lightning-in-a-bottle character. Problem: Thanos' plan was long in the making, while Destoroyah is not easily planned and might appear suddenly. Solution? Integrate Destoroyah's emergence as part of an overarching narrative. The Monsterverse could weave a storyline involving escalating human tampering with nature, possibly involving new weapons or pollutants that give rise to Destoryah. This makes his arrival feel inevitable rather than sudden, making Destoryah impactful. Problem: Thanos' actions were meaningful and well-developed, while Destoryah's impact needs careful handling. Solution: there are several approaches to this. A. Worst beatdown without death. Problem: Godzilla receiving a severe beatdown could seem repetitive if it mirrors past battles. Solution: ensure that Destoryah's confrontation with Godzilla shows unprecedented stakes, perhaps involving catastrophic global consequences that affect other titans and ecosystems. This would make the fight more than just a physical battle. B. Killing Godzilla. Problem: killing Godzilla could be seen as cheap shock value. Solution: if the story requires Godzilla's death, it should be meaningful and lead to significant changes in the Monsterverse. Perhaps Godzilla's death could trigger the rise of a new protector or set the stage for a dramatic resurrection arc. C. Fighting Burning Godzilla. Problem: setting up a fight with Burning Godzilla could be difficult. Solution: the build-up to Burning Godzilla can be gradual, showing Godzilla absorbing massive amounts of radiation over several films. Destoryah's threat could force Godzilla to reach this form. Ensure the narrative justifies this transformation and its consequences. Addressing the problems in detail. Building Destoryah's lore. Introduce scientific experiments or military projects involving the Oxygen Destroyer. Show the creation of dead zones and mysterious occurrences linked to Destoryah's emergence. Gradual build-up. Introduce minor encounters with creatures or phenomena hinting at Destoryah's power. Use post-credit scenes or subplot arcs to foreshadow Destoryah's arrival, making the conflict meaningful. Destoryah's impact should go beyond a physical threat. His presence could disrupt the natural order, affect other titans, and pose an existential threat to humanity. Introduce a storyline where humanity's attempts to control nature backfire disastrously, culminating in Destoryah's emergence as the ultimate consequence. Balancing Godzilla's fate. If Godzilla is defeated but not killed, show the aftermath's long-term effects on him and the world. If Godzilla is killed, ensure it leads to significant narrative developments, such as a new protector rising or a profound change in the balance of power among the Titans. Given the direction the Monsterverse is heading, we think holding back on introducing Destoroyah is wise. Adding Destoroyah could disrupt the balance of the universe, especially after the introduction of the Mutos, Ghidorah, and Mechagodzilla. Destoroyah's backstory and powers might not sit well with the fan base. Bringing in Destoroyah, while discussions about including monsters like Mothra and other Godzilla allies are ongoing, and doesn't make much sense. Much of Destoroyah's concept was already used as inspiration for the Mutos. It makes more sense to hold off on Destoroyah until there's a proper storyline to include him. The Monsterverse is in a transition where the focus is shifting from Godzilla to other monsters like Kong. Additionally, each Toho monster has its own licensing cost based on popularity. Bringing in another iconic villain like Destoroyah could be as expensive as Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla. It's more practical to use existing monsters or create new ones that fit the chaotic harmony storyline the Monsterverse is following after Godzilla vs. Kong. As lifelong fans who have watched nearly every Godzilla movie, we can say that introducing Destoroyah might be as controversial as his original debut. If he were to succeed in killing Godzilla on screen, it would be as heartbreaking for fans as Infinity War was for Marvel fans.